Welcome to episode 3 of Green Rocks. This episode is titled Megatrends. In this episode, we'll talk about some background information on the U.S. economy, demographics, and potential disruptors which could change the trajectory of our economy. We need to understand this information before we can start advocating solutions. So let's get into it. Here's some background performance of the economy in the United States of America. Long term, the United States has averaged 3.15% annual GDP growth. GDP, once again, is gross domestic product, and it's the sum of all the goods and services produced in the United States per year. Long-term, the United States has also averaged 2.17% productivity gains each year. So you can think of productivity as doing a little more each year with the same amount of resources. So you get more productive as you get more experienced in your job, and so you can do a little more. Our unemployment is also close to full employment. Our unemployment was 3.7% at the end of November, and it was 3.4% in April, which many economists considered to be full employment. And to put that into perspective, that means we might have 10 million job openings at any point in time and 5 million unemployed people. So we have more job openings than unemployed people. That was a pretty common event in 2023. AI, artificial intelligence, could be a game changer to our labor situation in the United States. Could be. If you look back at 2.17% productivity long term, during that time, computers came into existence, personal computers, laptop computers, cell phones, the internet, smartphones, email, and many other tools which helped us do more each year at work. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that AI can be a game changer against all those other changes of technology, but it's something we should watch. We've also got some deglobalization going on and some conflict, at least economically, between the East and West. BRICS has been formed recently. Russia, Brazil, India, China, South Africa form the acronym BRICS, but they've added other countries, as you can see there, and they're discussing moving away from the US dollar as a reserve currency. And that could have severe implications for us and something we need to pay attention to. As part of our economic battle between the East and West, we've had microchip wars. And due to some good legislation by the Biden administration, we have 4 microprocessor chip manufacturing plants under construction. And also due to some additional well-done legislation, we have 5 to 6 electric vehicle battery plants under construction in North America. All those plants are going to drive more work, but they're going to drive good manufacturing jobs with high wages. We're going to try to bring back more things, at least into North America, so that we simplify our supply chains, and we learned as part of COVID the challenges with global supply chains. But we have to be careful to understand, will we have people to fill those jobs? There's also a spirit of isolationism amongst the Republican Party. Let's pull back. Let's not provide any military aid or economic aid to anybody else in the world. Let's just take care of ourselves. Let's make America great again, and let the rest of the world be what it'll be. I'm not an expert on foreign policy, but I don't know when isolationism has ever been a successful long-term strategy. Now let's look at demographics. This is a chart that shows 3 scenarios for the U.S. population long-term, and the 3 scenarios are based on our immigration policies. Starting on the left, we have about 330 million people. The gray line, the bottom line, would be a no immigration scenario, and in the year 2100 would result in 230 million people in the United States, a drop of around 100 million people. That would be catastrophic. The gold line is a low scenario, and that would be slight decline in population. So that would probably be an acceptable place to be. And the dark blue line would show population growth with a high immigration scenario. Our current immigration scenario under the last two administrations is in between the gold and blue lines. Here's another look at our demographics in terms of age. On the vertical axis, you'll see age groups in 5-year increments. The male populations in the blue and the female populations in the orange. I will not dwell on that a whole lot. When Social Security was created in the 1950s, this chart looked like a pine tree or a triangle or a pyramid with more young people than old people. Just comparing the 2022 chart on the left with the projected 2050 chart on the right based on current immigration, you can see that we will have more and more older people as time goes by and fewer workers paying into Social Security and Medicare, trying to support the older workers. This is what makes Social Security and Medicare so problematic. Just before Christmas in 2023, the Senate and the Biden administration are working hard to finalize an immigration deal going forward. And the Republicans have said, we're not giving any money to Ukraine unless there's tightening up at the border. I think most Americans would agree with that. The Biden administration has proposed 1 million illegal immigrants a year, and the Republicans have said we'd like more like 600,000 or 700,000 illegal immigrants a year. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks it's hysterical that our government is negotiating how many illegal immigrants we'll have. But either one would provide enough people for a stable population and a stable workforce going forward. That said, presidential candidate Trump has said he wants to deport all illegal immigrants, 9 to 12 million people by some estimates. This is not smart. It's actually the opposite of smart. We have nearly full employment, and pulling 6 to 7 million workers out of the system will create problems. It'll be good for some people who will get raises as they jump jobs or threaten to jump jobs and get big pay increases, as we saw the automotive union and UPS unions negotiate this year. But those higher wages will drive prices up, and we have to be careful that those increasing prices don't put us right back into a high inflation period. I don't think anybody wins in high inflation. I'm all for people getting as much money as they can, but we have to avoid inflation. And so now let's summarize where we're at. So now that we understand the world around us a little better, what the economy has done historically, demographics, artificial intelligence, and potential deglobalization, and perhaps a new Cold War, we're getting ready to evaluate both the Republican approach to the problem and the Democratic approach to the problem. In my next session, I will review how I think each party would like to solve this problem, and I'll explain why I think neither approach will work. I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and safe travels throughout the season.